the silent epidemic. In medicine, there are loud diseases and there are silent diseases. A heart attack is loud. A stroke is loud. But today, we are going to talk about a silent thief. It is a condition that steals your independence without making a single sound, right up until the exact moment it alters your life forever. I am talking about osteoporosis and severe bone loss. Many of my patients over the age of 65 come into the clinic and they feel fine. They tell me, "Doc, my joints ache a little, but my bones are strong." But the terrifying reality of osteoporosis is that you cannot feel your bones thinning. For many older adults in the U.S., the very first symptom of osteoporosis is falling in the kitchen and fracturing a hip. And clinically speaking, a hip fracture in your 70s or 80s is not just a broken bone. It is a catastrophic systemic event. Statistics show that up to 30% of seniors who suffer a hip fracture will unfortunately pass away within the following year due to complications, and many of the rest will permanently lose their ability to live independently. Welcome back to Health and Well-Being. Today, we are doing a complete clinical masterclass on your skeleton. If you have been told to just take a calcium pill to protect your bones, you're only getting about 10% of the medical story, and in fact, taking massive amounts of the wrong calcium might actually be hurting your heart. Today, I am going to show you exactly how your bones remodel themselves, the critical vitamins most doctors forget to mention, and the absolute best science-backed protocol to build a skeleton that will keep you upright, active, and independent. The construction site inside you, osteoblast versus osteoclast. To understand how to reverse bone loss, you have to stop thinking of your skeleton as a dry, dead piece of scaffolding. Your bones are highly active, living, breathing tissue. Right now, inside every bone in your body, there is a microscopic construction site. And there are two main crews working on this site, the osteoclasts and the osteoblasts. Think of the osteoclasts as the demolition crew. Their job is to travel along the bone, find old, micro-damaged bone tissue, and dissolve it. They clear out the old foundation. Following right behind them are the osteoblasts. These are the builders. They lay down fresh, strong new bone matrix to fill in the holes left by the demolition crew. When you are 20 or 30 years old, these two crews work in perfect harmony. You build exactly as much bone as you break down. But as we cross the age of 50, and particularly for women after menopause when estrogen levels plummet, the demolition crew goes into overdrive. The osteoclasts start breaking down bone much faster than the osteoblasts can rebuild it. Over years and decades, your bones become porous. They begin to look less like dense hardwood and more like a fragile honeycomb. This is osteopenia, which eventually becomes osteoporosis. The calcium paradox, why supplements can be dangerous. For the last 40 years, the standard medical advice for thinning bones has been incredibly simplistic. Your bones are made of calcium, so just swallow a giant calcium rock every morning. But modern clinical research has revealed a massive flaw in this thinking. We call it the calcium paradox. When you take a massive dose of a cheap calcium supplement, like calcium carbonate, it floods your bloodstream. But calcium is dumb. It doesn't automatically know it is supposed to go into your skeleton. If you do not have the proper biological traffic cops in your body, that excess calcium floating in your blood will look for other places to settle. And do you know where it loves to deposit? Inside the inner lining of your arteries and inside your kidneys. This leads to arterial calcification, literally turning your flexible blood vessels into stiff, rigid pipes, increasing your risk for a heart attack. Taking calcium by itself is like dumping a pile of bricks on a vacant lot and expecting a house to build itself. You need contractors to put the bricks where they belong. The traffic cops, vitamin D3 and vitamin K2. So, who are the biological traffic cops? They are two essential fat-soluble vitamins, vitamin D3 and vitamin K2. First, let's talk about vitamin D3. When you consume calcium in your diet, from dark leafy greens, almonds, or dairy, it travels to your intestines. Without adequate vitamin D3, that calcium simply passes right through you. Vitamin D3 is the key that unlocks the door in your gut, allowing the calcium to enter your bloodstream. But once the calcium is in the blood, we need our second traffic cop, vitamin K2. Vitamin K2 is arguably the most important overlooked vitamin in bone health today. K2 activates a specific protein called osteocalcin. Think of osteocalcin as a magnet. Once activated by K2, it grabs the calcium out of your bloodstream and forces it directly into the bone matrix where it belongs. Simultaneously, K2 activates another protein that prevents calcium from depositing in your arteries. If you want to protect your bones and your heart, you must ensure you have adequate levels of D3 and K2 to direct the calcium traffic. Wolff's Law, the necessity of impact. Now we have the nutrition dialed in. But the builders, those osteoblasts we talk about, will not build new bone unless you force them to. This brings us to a fundamental principle of human biology called Wolff's Law. Wolff's Law states that your bones will adapt to the loads under which they are placed. If you do not put mechanical stress on your bones, your body assumes you don't need them, and it strips the minerals away. Many of my older patients tell me, "Doc, I walk a mile every day for my bones." Walking is fantastic for your heart and your brain, but walking is not enough mechanical stress to trigger significant bone growth in the hips and spine. To turn on the osteoblasts, you have to introduce resistance and impact. You need to engage in safe, progressive resistance training, lifting weights, using resistance bands, or doing bodyweight exercises forces your muscles to pull violently against your bones. That mechanical pulling is the exact trigger your brain needs to say, "We need more density here." I highly recommend working with a physical therapist to learn safe resistance protocols, particularly focusing on the lower body and the muscles supporting your spine. Clinical summary and outro. Your skeleton is the physical foundation of your independence. Do not wait until you hear a crack to start taking care of it. Dish the massive doses of cheap, isolated calcium. Focus on getting calcium from your diet. Make sure your vitamin D3 levels are optimized, and talk to your doctor about integrating vitamin K2 to direct that calcium into your bones and away from your heart. Most importantly, start challenging your skeleton with resistance training. Force those bones to grow stronger. I have placed links to the medical studies detailing the vitamin K2 and calcium paradox research down in the video description below. Thank you for joining me today on health and well-being. If this masterclass gave you a new perspective on protecting your body, please hit the like button and share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe to the channel, and let's keep building a stronger, healthier future together. Stay proactive, stay strong, and I will see you in the next video.